Hello, Targar friends. Hey, everybody. It's Jason Blaha here, and once again, it is time for another work mode workout. And today was max effort squat and deadlift day. Quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos every day, please click like down below. It would be greatly appreciated. Over to the training. I didn't go ultra hard on the squats. Actually, today was one of those days where, when people talk about motivation to train, I didn't want to train at all. I didn't want to do anything. But I got up and got all my training in, hit a nice little training max. And for those curious, the reason this is still a very, very good training max is because my max with this bar with straight weight is 531. 531. So to do 90 pounds less than that with 100 pounds of bands is actually relatively difficult. Now, not as difficult, but we're getting pretty close. And it actually was quite easy. And notice I'm going with a little bit wider stance here. I'm trying to work on getting my stance out more again because I feel like my hip strength has regressed a little bit. One reason I'm doing the belt squats again. And we'll get to that on the rep work a little bit because it was a little harder on my hips. But it actually made the weight itself feel light. So I'm going to work a little more with a real wide stance again for a while. Then I did below the knee rack pulls on the 4-pin. A lot of people freaked out about this. Guys, my safeties are specifically designed for pin work. So just a heads up, I'm not using junk at a commercial gym that's going to get broken. Okay, I'm using pin and pipe type safeties. I bought this safety setup specifically so I could do pin work. Okay, it's for those curious. It is actually made to handle this. Now, there's some arguments as to whether I should be doing this with a deadlift bar. Good point, and I might mess with some of these with my normal stiff bar again and then do the deadlift bars off of the Eva foam. Because people said, why are you doing this and not the other? Well, I want to do both, because I think what I'm going to do is take a page out of West Side and just stop pulling from the floor for a while, but do more total pulling, and it's just easier to recover from. And it is harder. So a lot of people chime in, and you can tell they're very inexperienced lifters. Like, but that's taking several inches of range of motion out. It should be easier. That's not how it works. Try it yourself and come to report back. It usually below the knee rack pulls, like mid shin type stuff, you're lucky if you can get 90 to 95%. But if you guys notice, that was easy. I didn't go all out because again, my hand is still getting used to that bar. I'm having to toughen my hands up. That one got close to ripping the skin. I'm continuing to do grip work, continuing to toughen the hands up, but I want to get some decent little heavy pulls in. Even if they're just at 90%, I want to get a couple pulls in most weeks. So anytime I'm not going to go for a good morning PR on one of my bars, I'm going to do some sort of pull for the second lower. Okay. And I think I'm going to do a lot of block pulls, and I'm going to do some below the knee rack pulls. And I may, when I do the rack pulls, I may start throwing a mini band over them also for a different max to track. And I can do, 3 different heights on the pads. I can pull off pads as block pulls. So I'm probably going to mess more and more with that for a while just to get my pulling mechanics down again, get used to some heavy pulls, and then continue to build all the muscles of the deadlift. But grip is still going to be my limiting factor. On the squats, because I went real wide with these again, I noticed my hip on the second set started feeling a little strained. Okay, it started feeling it a little bit. So I called the squats at 2 sets today because I'm going to do a lot of other quad work. I'm doing all the good mornings. I'm doing belt squats. My quads are getting plenty of work. I'm not going to freak out if I only do two work sets of squats. I did 3 last time. And then we went up on weight today on the belt squats. But it's just one of those cases of my hip was kind of saying, we're getting close to our limits for this session. And I wanted to still be able to do the belt squats, which my hip felt fine on those. I noticed it was fine. But it is the case of that being a possible weak link on certain movements. One reason I'm working on it, right? It's certainly not my quads at this point. Certainly not my quads, as you guys see every time I approach the camera. You can see that quad up in the camera. Not an issue for me, but we're still training them. And then after that, I went ahead and did my safety bar good mornings. And again, I'm doing safety bar work on most of this stuff, most workouts. I'm still doing some of the other bars, but these are taking the priority. Why? Easy on shoulders, and they're the hardest, and they address my weakest links. Okay, they address my personal weak links very, very well while forcing me to use a lighter weight and get a lot of volume in and recover from it while still hammering everything. So even though I'm a lot stronger with the camber bar on all these movements, and I'm weakest at the safety bar, I'm using mostly the safety bar because we're forced to be weaker. Okay, there's something very imbalanced. If you can do as much weight with a safety bar, a true safety bar, as you can with a straight bar, a cambered bar, a buffalo bar on a squat or a good morning, you have something really imbalanced because you shouldn't be able to, particularly the good mornings. But I went ahead and did my holds, and the first 3 or 4 of these went really good. I went again with the 260 today because I managed to get that last time for 5 sets, and then I couldn't do it. And I got disappointed because you guys will see as we get further into the workout, I was only able to complete 4 holds. Now I held them a long time, but then my grip started giving and I couldn't complete the last 2. So what I may do later today after I recover, I may run over and try to do another hold later once my grip is fully recovered just for the day. And then I don't do any grip work or anything on the weekends now. I'm trying to limit it to just my main training sessions. But I want that to continue to progress. I mean, it's progressed already some in a couple weeks, but man, it's getting hard. Getting really hard, and I've got to get better at grip. Grip is my limit on deadlift, right? Because that was not a hard pull. Hurt my hands a bit, but even that pull below the knee, and again, it's common to do 90% of your max. That was nowhere near a max for that lift. My hands hurt though. And again, this one went good too. So, I mean, the first 3 or 4 of these went real well. I definitely started noticing the fatigue on the 4th one. So, I mean, I was happy with them at first, but then my grip just kind of died out. But it's also getting towards the end of the training week, and then I take the weekends off and just do abs and cardio. The 3rd set of these, even though technically the weight I'm using should be 10s, I went ahead and took it further to see if I could get a couple more reps, and I managed to get 12 reps. That's a good sign, because that means we probably can PR on this relatively soon, right? It means I probably have a PR in the tank. I should have got the last PR I tried. I missed a PR attempt on this last time I tried, a 5-pound PR. I feel like I could probably get it now, but I want to do more pulling, so I'll probably do another deadlift below the knee of some type next session just to get more pulling in. But I will need to max on this soon just so that I have a better number to program off of for percentages. So it's always good to do that when we know we can PR. But because I got 12 and it wasn't super grindy, I didn't hit total failure and get pinned or anything, I probably am about ready for a PR on that. And again, this pull went good also. And it's funny how quickly the grip just fades when you're doing the grip training with this bar. It's like you'll have multiple holds, you can hold it for 10 seconds. Then all of a sudden you can't even break it off the floor. Then we did the belt squats. I added a plate. And I did the same thing on these today. I went in, did my 2 sets of 10, realized they were not limit sets. And the 3rd set I went ahead and banged out 12 reps. So we're getting better at these. Probably a case of I need to go ahead and just keep bumping that weight up. And it took me the first set to kind of get in the groove. I think that first rep was a little high. Then I'm having to get back in the groove of sitting back, because I'm trying to take these out pretty wide and trying to keep my toes forward so that I can build the hips, right? I need to build my adductors and abductors both. They need to come up, and that's what's going to do that. Okay, so I need to keep the toes relatively forward, get a nice wide stance. And of course, I'm really limited on what I can do there because of the rack. But I don't need to go to a wider stance than my rack can go to. Not a big deal. But because I need the safeties to really climb up there easily, like getting up there without safety arms or straps is a pain to step up on the boxes. So it really makes life a lot easier. I suppose I could do it reverse the other direction from behind if I had a bar to hold on to. I could probably put a bar up in the rack and use that to climb up on, and that would probably give me the same effect, but then we'd be faced away from the camera. But I could do that if I needed to by necessity. So there are other options, because I just didn't like doing the landmine. I feel like just doing them this way, it feels more natural, it feels better. I feel like I can get a better movement pattern than with the landmine. And I know a lot of people like the landmine. I saw people promote it. I even tried it. It just doesn't bring as much to the table. It's not the same movement. This lets you move freely. The landmine actually gets in the way. It limits your almost your path that you can travel through, because you're so busy trying to keep the stuff from sliding off the end, right? And with this, the plates just swing freely. Now, it's not the most comfortable thing in the world on your inner thigh. That canvas rubs you a bit. But if I get a little wider, that probably will go away too. But then again, my adductors are probably going to get bigger anyway, so it may not get better. But again, these felt very good today. Felt very, very good today. Nice good amount of quad and hip work. Really got that hip activation that I need to be getting, because that's important. And it's one of the things that I know, because I tried to sumo the other day and it was horrific. I know my hips have regressed. This will bring that up real fast. It'll bring it up real quickly. And it's not that hard to just work in 3 sets of this on a leg day. It's very, very easy on recovery because it puts everything in traction. I've heard people say something like, well, couldn't a leg press do that? No, because a leg press puts stress on your back. This is superior to a leg press in every way imaginable, right? Plus, you don't have to load 1,500 pounds on it to get any sort of work. And people always freak out. When I say stuff like that about the leg press, they think I'm exaggerating. And I'm like, try it. If you squat 500 pounds, people say stuff, well, you could do double what your squat. No. If you are a legitimate 500-pound squatter, true squatter, you put 1,000 pounds on a normal 45-degree leg press. If you really get tired at 10 reps, then I don't know, you're out of shape, you're a pussy or something. It shouldn't even be hard. Unless you're talking about one leg, then that would be real hard. But 1,000 pounds for 10 or 15 reps for a 500-pound squatter is literally nothing. It's a warm-up. And if it feels heavy, it's in your head. It's a delusion, because it's the amount of weight on there. To your muscles, it shouldn't be hard. So, I went ahead and did the last 3 pulls in between the glute ham raises, mainly because getting that extra stretch on my hamstrings after that helps with the cramp. But by the way, I got 13 reps on that. So that's a PR with using a 10-pound plate. So I went ahead and did it on all 3 sets. But then that 4th pull, you could tell my grip was getting tired, by the way. You can see, wow, my grip is getting very fatigued at that point. Getting very fatigued. But these were definitely getting hard. At 13, I didn't feel like they were super grindy, but my hamstrings were cramping just a little bit after each set. They were cramping just a little bit. So you'll notice I go ahead and I try to do another pull. Even after this next one, I couldn't actually get it up. I went ahead and did it after the next set as well, mainly because just getting that extra stretch on my hamstrings feels really good when they're trying to cramp from doing these. And I have to be very careful climbing back down off the machine because I have to bend my knees. So bending your knees completely trying to climb down right after doing these is almost a recipe for a cramp to happen. Unlike with some of the other things like the reverse hyper where you can just step off of it stiff leg, I can't do that off of this. I have to climb back down. It's such a pain. But this one, I couldn't do it. I tried it twice. I'm like, maybe I just didn't grip it good. Maybe I didn't get my hands dry enough, right? So I come over, I go to pull at this first one, and I can't even get it up. I break it off the floor and it's already rolling. And I'm dropping it because it's rolling out of my hands. I'm like, let me try it again. I can do it. Nope. So grip just couldn't handle that double overhand axle today. I got 3 really good holds with it. One, I was getting real tired, and then that one messed up. But the upside, we PR'd here on the glute ham raises. So all this accessory work is going up. My hip was getting really fatigued on the squatting, but I picked up a couple reps on the good mornings, right? We added a little bit of weight to the hip belt squat. And really, I can go up on weight again on it. Picked up an extra rep on these. And I even go up on the reverse hyper. I went up 10 pounds today, and I managed to get all sets of 25. So everything else is good, and its grip is the weak link, and grip just didn't PR today, unfortunately. And it's my weak link on my deadlift, but everything else PR'd. So, again, I've got to be careful, though, because I'm doing a lot of grip work, and it is very, very recovery intensive in a certain way, because I'm doing so much rowing, and I'm doing a lot of rowing, and I'm PRing on my rows. So that's part of it, but that my grip just gave out. You can tell I'm not happy at that point. You can see my face. Not happy about that. Even though everything else PR'd, but man, that grip's got to come up because that's limiting my deadlift. But it's not going to come up unless I train it. I'm going to have to do stuff like that where I take it to where my grip is failing. to where my grip is just has nothing left for the session, right? Only way it's going to go. You guys notice I add that extra 10 over there, so it's 460. And these were challenging at 25. You know, the last 5 reps, everything was screaming at me a little bit. Because again, we managed to get the 25 last time with the 450, because I've been working back up with that. And, you know, I'm like, I got it, it was good, so let me just try a 10-pound jump. But the last 5 reps, my back, my glutes, everything were kind of screaming at me like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to us? We don't deserve this. We work hard for you. Why? But, you know, they need to get stronger. At no point ever is it ever going to hurt you as a lifter to have stronger glutes and erectors. Okay? No matter how strong they are, they're probably my strongest muscles in my body. They're my strong points. But they also help you keep from getting hurt when they're stronger. You know, that's kind of one of the interesting things. If my grip is always the limit on my deadlift, what are the odds that I'm ever going to get hurt on the deadlift? Exactly. If my low back is never a limit, it's a good position to be in. But, you know, and I'm sitting here complaining about grip, but the reality is this was a very, very good training session. A lot of my accessory work PR'd. My training maxes were nice heavy weights, and they really didn't feel heavy. They were manageable. And, you know, PRing all the supplemental work. But, you know, the grip is frustrating me because I know it needs to come up, and I'm working really hard at it, and it is coming up. But I'm impatient, just like all of you guys out there. You get impatient. We want stuff right now. We don't want to spend 9 months hammering on something. We expect to hammer on something for 2 months, and it's going to be fixed. Well, that's not the reality for advanced lifters. That's not how it works. Right? We have to be consistent. We have to be patient. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.